Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over Chemical Overload. For some reason, thought it was Overlord. Chemical Overload, which is a game that I actually got the chance to play the prototype of back whenever it was going on Kickstarter, and was very, very high on the game. Because typically whenever I get prototypes in, it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't really for, this either wasn't for me, or it's not a great game, or what have you. And this was one of the very few prototypes that I got to play that I was very, very excited to get the final copy. And it was a little, are they going to fund? I really hope they do, which would be my luck that there's a game that I really, really liked, and it doesn't fund for some reason. But luckily they did, and I got the final copy. So what do I think of it now? And this game is so good. It is easily one of the best deck builders that I have played. And I have played a ton. And this is also coming from someone who has relatively recently come around on Dominion, as Dominion being one of my favorite deck builders, just because of the sheer amount of variety that game has. And while this game doesn't have a ton of expansions to it, it still comes with a lot of variety, a lot of creativity to it, in a theme that I think is virtually untouched. There's not a lot of games about potion making, unless it's kind of in a fantasy thing where you have potions, but your whole goal isn't about creating potions. In this it is, through the means of deck building. And what's fantastic about that is this game has one gorgeous artwork. Every single potion, every single one of them just has so much charm to it, and ties into the actual name of the potion. A very simple one is this lucky potion that is green, and the cap on it is a 4-leaf clover. That's genius. This cleansing potion is a standard, it's a purple potion, but what's coming out of it are two hands, because the effect on the card lets you draw a card and then you can destroy a card. It's just, and the artwork invokes just I wonder what that tastes like, as well as being a dual purpose of functionality, because when you're creating potions, not only do you need standard chemicals like crimson, sapphire, and the jade, you also need a particular flask to make it, and the art on the card is the exact same art of the flask you need to create it, so it's functional in that sense. One of my favorite things with certain deck builders, this one and Dominion, are the fact, is the sense of just variety. Being able to look at a potion set or a list of the markets and be okay, what kind of game do we want? Highly aggressive? Use these cards. Tons of draw power? Use these cards. Tons of money? Use these cards. And I love when games have that. And it's obviously done with a lot of card games, but those are my favorite types, to look at the back of a rule book and be what kind of game do we want to play? Okay, and then just set it up real quick. Alternatively, you can just randomly grab them and put them out and see what kind of game you have there, but that has always just allowed for a curated experience, and this game has that. It has 8 recommended potion sets at the back, and you can just pick any one of those, throw it in, and then just see what kind of strategy you're going to go for with those cards that are available. And what's great is it's not here's the one strategy in this potion set, so you're kind of one and done. In the one that I just played, I can see 3 or 4 different strategies from that set alone, and it's also different depending on the number of players. I honestly cannot rave enough about this game, because this game, it's okay, is it just a re-themed Dominion? No, it allows for so much control, because on your turn you have 2 actions you can do out of 4, which is either just gaining a coin, and you need coins mainly for buying flasks. You can buy a flask, you can gain a chemical, or you can create a potion. So those are your 4 actions. On top of all that, everything else is essentially a free action, which is basically playing your potions. Once they are in your deck, playing them is free. So you get a lot of combos pretty much immediately out the gate that, I mean, unfortunately still can lead to kind of forgetting that you have actions that you can do. If your whole turn is playing a bunch of potions, you think you're kind of done because it's like, oh, well, playing a potion is an action. It has to be. Nope, that's free to do. But like whenever you're playing a bunch of cards where it's like, oh, I get to draw, I get to draw, I get to do this, I get to do this, I get to discard, I get to filter through my discard pile, I get to do, I get to gain coins, whatever it might be, and then you do all that and you're like, oh wait, did I even do 2 actions? I don't remember. So that can, I mean, those can kind of get lost in the sauce, but ultimately being able to combo is such a fun thing about this game, and you get to do it so much. Like, each potion is creative and useful in its own way. A very solid example is with this particular set, there are the piggy bank potion and the lucky potion. The lucky potion doesn't give you any victory points, but it sits on the table. Because this is also a tableau building game, it sits off to the side, and once per turn you can activate it, and all it does is give you a coin. Well, the piggy bank potion also sits on the table, and it says you may place a coin on this potion, and each coin is worth 1 victory point. So just these 2 cards alone, throughout the length of the game, you can just activate your lucky potion, gain a coin, activate your piggy bank, and put it on there to be able to just have a card that's worth a ton of points. Your whole goal for this set could be to just have, multiple lucky potions and multiple piggy banks. Because each potion you can activate once per turn. So if you have 4 lucky potions and 4 piggy banks, you're generating 4 points every time it is your turn. Now that would take, some setup to do, but it's not, with it's definitely within the realm of possibility to do so. But so you have that. Then the other thing that makes this game fantastic, and not many deck building games do this, but whenever you buy a card, so there are 2 types of cards. It says table and deck on the bottom. The table ones, as soon as you buy it, go straight into your tableau, just off to the side, ready to be used. The deck ones go straight to the top of your deck, and that is so fantastic because you're not guaranteed to use the card on your turn, but you are guaranteed to draw that card. And so sometimes you'll be looking for cards that you want to use on your next turn, because a lot of deck builders are buy it, put it in your discard pile. Dominion is very much that, and hope that you get the combos that you want. Here it's like you're guaranteed to get the card that you just paid for on your next turn if you have no way to draw cards. For example, let's say you wanted to use this greater potion, or this potion of greater transmogrify that acts as any triple chemical. Well, let's say you have a way to draw cards, so you can craft this, put it on top of your deck, play a card for free that lets you draw a card. Oh, hey, look, I have this potion, now I can play it for free as a triple chemical, to then use that as a triple green with my 1 blue that I have in my hand and my level 4 flask that I've had, to then craft as a second action to craft this potion of greater victory, which is worth 5 points. Does nothing else, but it's worth 5 points. That's one example of being able to guarantee and combo off into your deck because and this even just goes into the table. So some cards don't even clog up. Like a lot of games where it's like, hey, this is worth 5 points, but you're watering your deck down. Nope, this gets set off to the side and is just worth 5 points to you at the end of the game. It's just so much like management and control over your deck and over your game, while still keeping the air of randomness of a deck builder, because yeah, you're guaranteed to draw into that, but after that you don't know what's coming up next. So you need cards that still let you draw a bunch. The other thing that is fantastic about this game is the fact that you do not have to discard your hand at the end of your turn. You can if you want to. If you're like, well, I have 2 blue, I don't really need these anymore, so I'll discard them and draw up to 5. But let's say you have a green and a red, but you need another green, and you're like, I'm pretty sure it's still in my deck. So you can hold on to those 2 cards and then draw 3. That is just amazing. Like, again, you're not like, well, this hand is a bust, discard it all, and then shuffle your deck and then draw up, and it's like, oh, cool, another busted hand. So very rarely do you have dud turns in this game. There's just, like, it seems like that they took, like, what's great about Dominion and then took the bad parts of Dominion and just modified that. It's like, well, every hand is random in Dominion. Okay, that's true. So what if we controlled that? Okay, well, what if there were cards that were great, but we didn't want it to water down your deck? Okay, make a tableau builder. A slight tableau, like enough to give you an engine, but still not taken away from the actual deck building portion. Like, this is still 100% a deck building game without, like, with the elements of a tableau builder, instead of being like, oh, this is mainly a tableau and you kind of create a deck. Nope, it is pretty much the best parts of both. And then on top of all of that, they added this toxin level. So this is kind of going to go into a slight negative on the game, in that the way that the game ends is if the toxin level reaches the end. And the only way that moves up is whenever you buy these toxic cards. So like these 2 cards, for example, one's green and this one's not. Whenever a green potion is created, the toxin level moves up. And that's pretty much it. And so what I have kind of found is the game can kind of drag depending on player count. Like if you're playing and it really drags more at 2 players, because in a 3 or 4 player game, everyone's buying certain cards, so the toxin level track is going to ramp up. In a 2 player game, it's like, well, all the cards I'm going for don't have the green border, so it's not moving up on my turn, so it relies on another person. And even then, it still moves up, relatively quickly, because a lot of the ones that don't have them, like the 5s and 6 cards, are all toxin, and they're generally going to be the ones that are worth the most points, and you win by having the most points. So there's still incentive that it's going to move up. However, I would have liked them to add something of like, and I could have sworn it was in there. Maybe I'm missing it, but I could have sworn in the prototype there was something about if a deck runs out, then the toxin level moves up. Maybe I'm just missing it because like the rulebook is done relatively well. It's kind of all over the place in the little parts, but ultimately this game is extremely simple to learn, which is also awesome. But yeah, like if you're searching for something in particular, it's not that easy to find. So maybe it's in there and I just haven't found it. But I could have sworn that there was something of like, oh, this deck, like this cleansing potion deck got empty. Okay, that's going to move the toxin level track up once, just to guarantee that the game will end eventually. But yeah, so this toxin level, the incentive to actually move it up is that you are generally rewarded, because whenever it moves up to a new level and goes 0, 1, 2, and 3, the first level of that has you draw a toxin card. And this is also really cool because they didn't have to bloat this deck. Like, there's not like a million cards in there, but each card has 4 levels on it, effectively meaning that like every game you're drawing 4 cards, and you could even draw the exact same 4 cards at different toxin levels, and it's going to give you a different effect, and I think that's awesome. But there are ongoing effects, and there are one-time effects, and the person who actually moved the track up is the one who typically gets rewarded or affected by it. Like one is culmination, which is like, hey, whoever ends this toxin level after everyone's turn, that person gets to take another turn. Or preference, choose one, gain 2 victory points, or draw 5 cards. Overabundance. If it's toxin level 1, draw 3 cards. So I really like the effects of the toxin, as well as once it gets to the 3rd level, the person who moved it up into that gets a victory point, and the person who moves it to the end gets 3 victory points. And that is incentive enough. Like, I wouldn't say bank your strategy on, getting to the end for the 3 points, but it might make a difference. Like the game I just played with my girlfriend, the final score was very close because she went for a strategy of getting a bunch of these gems throughout the course of the game. In fact, the militant potion is all about having more of these as the toxin level increases. So it's like immediately before resolving a new toxin card, if you have the most or tied for the most militant potions, gain 2 victory points. These are worth a victory point in and of themselves, but if you want to guarantee that you're going to get 2 points, effectively 8 points at the end of the game, you want a majority of these. So therefore, if you were the one who bought all of these, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 points, as well as 1, 2. Oh wait, sorry. There's 10 cards. So that's 10 points, and then 1, 2, 3. 3 of the toxic cards that are going to move this up, as well as naturally moving it up. So that's 18 points. And if you're the one to move it up each time, you could potentially get an extra 4. And that's what? 18, 22 points just off of one card. I mean, you would have to literally just buy those, but not horrible, as well as, getting the benefits of the toxin effects. So the Toxin event deck, I think, is a really, really nice touch, just to spice things up. They're not all great, for you. They're not all positive effects, but one of them was, pass 2 cards from your hand, and it's still, that's a way of watering, thinning out your deck. It's like, well, I don't really need these blues anymore, so I'll pass that to the person on my left. There's just so much to this game. Now, couple things for the Kickstarter version this might not affect people if this ever goes retail, which I don't think it is. Don't quote me on that, but there's a couple things. One, the insert is good, except if you got sleeves. I was not able to figure out a way and the sleeves that they sent out were penny sleeves, so the thinnest sleeves you can get. I still could not get it to fit in the box. So it's so close. And that's not even a fault really on them. That's most companies that are we made a great insert. Oh, can I use sleeved cards? No, the insert's only great for unsleeved cards. It's and I get why they do that, because it's well, if they size the box for sleeved cards, then it's too big for people who don't sleeve, and I don't know what the ratio is of people who sleeve or unsleeve. I think for most deck builders, I would much rather sleeve because you're shuffling a lot, and I would hate for these cards to get dinged up and look like shit. And the second part is they have these playmats, and the playmats are for the main thing is really good. I love the playmat, and I generally love the playmat for the players, the player mats, but they have this side piece for tabled cards. And it's one of those things where you kind of want to keep a running thing, where it's this tabled cards area is good for the Potion of Hoarding, because it keeps track of how many, you get points based off how many you have, because it wants you to fan out the cards like this. Other than that, it's useless. This side of the tabled cards section is so useless because it's well, some of them have effects on them that I want to remember to use, so I'm not even going to use the player mat. I would have much rather had this be cut off where the tabled cards section wasn't even on here, and it was just an organized thing for your deck, play area, and flasks. But, other than that, the fact that the actions are on the player mat, I like. A section for money and a section for your victory points is really good. Honestly, I'm stretching to figure out negatives for this game. I think it is so much fun. I love the theme, love the art, love the control. It's fantastic. And it is going to get an expansion. They already have announced on the back of the rulebook the first expansion coming soon. So here's what I would like to see from the expansion. Clearly more cards are coming, but I have found that a lot of your actions, of your 4 actions, are kind of defaulted to gaining a coin. Which is like, okay, well, coins, I mean, depending on the cards that are out in the market, which I've played this game a ton in prototype and as this version, it's like gain a coin, and it's like, okay, what am I using coins for? The flasks. Well, I don't need 1,000,000 flasks anymore. I would love to see more cards from the first expansion to be centered around using your actions. Like, you have your 4 base actions, but it's like, I would love to see new cards come out that say, as an action, do this. Like, it takes up 1 of your 2 actions. Like, because normally playing a card, like, again, a Lucky Potion, stays on the table, and you can activate it, and that's free. That counts as playing a potion. But it'd be really interesting to see certain really powerful potion cards take up 1 of your 2 actions. That would be really cool. It would be, I don't know what they're adding to that. Obviously, more potion sets would be cool. Another unique chemical that gets thrown in for certain potions would be cool. Like, if you have potions, what would be awesome, but it would be very particular on the sets, is if you actually combined crafted potions, which would be cool. Like, just hypothetically, it's like, oh, you can craft a Lucky Potion and this replacement potion, and it does like a combined effect, so you need these 2 and another type of flask you basically discard these, and now you have 1 card that does both these effects. I'm just literally, these are coming up off the top of my head, because if the expansion was literally just more types of potions, then I'd be like, cool! More potions, more toxic cards, like, I'd be happy there. But if they were trying to go something new, those would be ideas that I would be like, that could be awesome. But yeah, I love this game. I'm so happy that, the final version, and the prototype that I played was basically finalized. Like, I can't think of anything that they changed, honestly. Like, because the cards that I've seen here, like, are still the ones from the base or from the prototype. Clearly, the player mat and the board, like, are more finalized. The cards feel fantastic. Yeah, like, I think everything is pretty much the same. So it was pretty much done, and I'm very happy with the final result. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Chemical Overload a 10. It is a fantastic deck builder, so highly recommend it. Definitely check it out if you get a chance, and I'm looking forward to that first expansion. But that's it, everyone. That's my thoughts on Chemical Overload. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.